getting all of Hitler's best scientists, that, bam, we went from, guns and planes to fighter jets and Scud missiles and kind of an anti-missiles and satellites and drones and all this other stuff in 40, 50 years, and who knows what else they got. It's just way too fast. The spinoff is just, there had to be something to spark all of that.
Right. We went from, radios and TVs that had big old tubes in them to, like, pretty much within a few short years to, fiber optics and all kind of, and the short circuit there, integrated circuits and stuff like that. And that's where you start to get into some serious technology because, and even the implants that I think the aliens use, I think the technology there is so, who knows how advanced that is. It could be part biological and AI intelligent put into one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And have you ever had any, in all your research, did you ever come across anything along those lines about implants and stuff like that?
Well, microchip implants are, that's part of what I wrote about is, in my new book. I do think that's going to be a huge part of New World Order. And they're already implanting microchips in Sweden. There's some, and the people want it. That's even scarier. There's some there's a lot of corporations, but one especially, Biohacks, they implant their employees with this RFID chip or a microchip, and it acts like a time clock. It knows when they're coming in. It acts for security. They can purchase things at the cafeteria. Their money is deposited onto their bank account, which is also on the chip. I mean, it went on and on and on about all of the things that it can do. Does it sound convenient? Yeah, it does sound convenient. I'm not, but do I want the company that I work for to know every single thing that I do, every bill that I pay, everywhere that I am? I just talk about Big Brother, and that people like it. They find it just a dream come true. It's already in Wisconsin. There's some company, I can't think offhand, in Wisconsin that is implementing it's all voluntary at this point. But I want to throw in, I am a Christian. It says in the Bible that the mark of the beast will be on your forearm or hand or forehead. So, they're putting it in your hand, and it's every single thing.
Everything that was written and the couple books in the Bible is starting to come to fruition, so to speak.
Yeah, and to me that's terrifying. And I think some people call this an advancement. I call it inviting or someone to just completely take over.
Well, that's the thing. Where's the fine line where you're so cloudy in the brain of your thoughts that you're thinking it's okay to be run by your place you work and let them pretty much dictate what you do and let them know what you're doing all the time? You know what I mean? When did you come to that conclusion that it's okay? Or was there something done that they don't know that the whole companies have brainwashed them into this?
That's an excellent point. Exactly. Maybe they can't make decisions on their own at this point. I've heard.
Because
I've heard.
Let me ask you this: you ever go to one of them shows where you got a hypnotist and he's making 10 people cluck like a chicken, and they don't even know. They don't even know it. So who's to say these big corporations aren't doing the same thing? And who's to say that you're supposed to make $50,000 a year? You're thinking you're making $50,000, maybe you're only bringing 20. But to you, every time you look at 20 on your paper, in your brain is saying 50, and you're doing whatever they want you to do. You're brainwashed or whatever.
Well, they have companies are already piping in different smells through aromatherapy. So again, it's, certain smells are supposed to be calming and stimulate your brain, and you're supposedly going to be more productive. But how do you know that? Like you're saying.
That's right. And what else? Smells can also be used as triggers to trigger you in, trigger your brain, and to go back to what they programmed into your head. I mean, really.
Yeah.
And so those are scary thoughts. It kind of reminds me of that Pink Floyd in their record there, The Wall, where it shows them they're run by corporations and they're all walking into a big grinder. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah. That was a good group. That was an awesome group. I got to see them in concert, but yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Another thing comes to my mind is that daggone movie Soylent Green. Where Charles Heston are all. You get a certain age, you become. They recycle you, like literally, and the people are okay with it. Like I don't know if they don't know what's going on or if it's just they're brainwashed or what. What is up? And who's to say that's not what's going on? And it's got to start somewhere, and it sounds like it's starting in Sweden.
Yeah. Well, I don't. Again, it was this one corporation called Biohacks. But if the people really like it, then why wouldn't the next corporation do it, and the next corporation do it, and on and on and on?
And well, here's the thing.
I don't care.
When does it get to the point where you don't have a choice? When does the scale sway where you don't have a choice? You either do it or else.
Right. Well, with my day job, I prefer the old timey way of them handing you a paper paycheck, and then you go to the bank and cash it and do whatever you want with it. Well, now everybody wants your bank account number so they can wire you your paycheck. They won't, and if you don't like that, you don't want them to know your bank's account numbers. Well, too bad. You're not going to get paid. That's the only way they're going to do it.
Yeah, if you don't comply, what that's called is extortion, legalized extortion. If I did that, told somebody that, they'd say, "Well, okay, we'll see in court. You're going to go to jail. Probably hit me with a RICO Act." But corporations can do it, and it's okay.
Right?
Oh my God. Oh, geez, what are we coming to? So what's it going to take then? The aliens landing on the White House lawn and say, "Hey, look, we're here to serve man and help us." Oh, jeez.
Well, I mean, he claims to be open to telling us all this, and he did tell us about Hitler, so maybe he's a friend to the alien-believing community. I don't know. Time will tell.
Well,
I know.
Speaking of presidents and aliens, wasn't it supposedly Truman or Eisenhower that had a little meeting with them that got this whole ball started, so to speak, with trading secrets and giving them some of us or whatever?
I don't know. I'm not sure on that one, but
yeah, I'm pretty sure but like somewhere along the line, our government had to have some kind of agreement with some aliens somewhere. Wouldn't you think?
I do.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And they all and the entire world, so to speak, all of the leaders seem to want a one world government. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, and I'll be
honest.
Why
are they going to?
I don't know, but I do know that, in my personal opinion, is the beginning of the end. That would be a recipe for disaster. I know it sounds convenient, but if it was, I just don't think that's going to work. That's just going to cause a lot of problems with a lot of people. Even though it doesn't sound like it would, I just think it would. Does that make any sense?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's, I mean, you look at what happened in Europe last weekend with all of the elections. They don't want an EU. They don't want a globalized world. They want to be their own sovereign nations. That's what they're voting for. Like Brexit, for example. Well, why is England still in the EU? They voted out 3 or 4 years ago already.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of England, I'm pretty sure they've had all kind of contact with alien technology over the years, also.
Yeah.
And
Think all the cows and the crop circles and all that.
Oh, there's all kinds of stuff, and they're just like I believe they're just us. I mean, they just speak with a different dialogue than us, pretty much, but basically the same as us. They try to hide stuff, and well, let's face it, though. With the alien technology, if it did get in the hands of a wrong government, I mean, just like the Nazis, if Hitler hadn't been a meth addict, Lord knows. And you got these countries today, they get in the wrong hands. You got cloaking ability, you got, something that can transport. You can go from North Pole to South Pole in a flip of an eyelash or whatever. I mean, this is technology that, how about North Korea? Imagine if he got his hands on all that kind of stuff. What do you think he might do?
Gosh. Right. I mean, if the evil alien wanted to befriend somebody, that Kim Jong-un would be the perfect patsy.
I mean, it wouldn't take much to butter his bread, would it?
No, give him a couple compliments and tell him how great he is, and hey, yeah, let's go shoot off some nukes. I mean, that would be it.
Oh, jeez, that's some scary thought. Oh my God. Oh. Yeah, hopefully, and see, that's another thing, and I'm going to tell you, about 25 years ago or so, give or take a few years, I did see a document that stated that our government knew of 168 different alien species that we know of. Now, that was 25 years ago, give or take. So, fast forward to today, it sure as hell hasn't went down any, you know what I mean? Of different species, races of aliens that we know, and along with that, like any other biological entity, there's good, bad, and ugly ones. And I don't believe they're all here to help us by no means. And I've talked about this on several different times that, if I went to a stranger's house, I rustled them up out of bed in the middle of the night, abducted them, brought them home, and did some experiments on them, and tried to brainwash them and take them back home. If I got caught, they're going to put me in jail for a long time, maybe forever. You get where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah. And again, I think it's all part of genetics. They kind of like, most scientists believe that we've been humans in human form for around 5,000 to 10,000 years. But after that, or before that, we supposedly we were hominids, and we kind of resembled part man, part ape, and all this and that, and there were different kinds of animals / humans roaming the earth. Well, how did we go from being animal-like to being human-like in, such a short time? And again, did the aliens come down? And evolution, I'm not sold on, to be honest with you. But
speaking of evolution, I believe in evolution, but not the way people think of evolution. And when I speak evolution, I'm speaking of facts. In other words, if you look on the islands there, what is it, Madagascar or Galapagos, one of those islands where Darrow was and all that. Yeah, if you isolate a species of birds or whatever, and over time they will evolve to their surroundings. However, they're not going to turn into another species. There's not going to be a missing link. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So in other words, if that was the case, then dolphins would be driving cars today and talking to us. I mean, it doesn't compute. It doesn't compute. I don't believe there's a missing link. And as far as Zacharias Sitchin, I mean, one of his big theories is the aliens came here and they used us basically as slaves, And there is a lot of good points there because they harvested gold. And if you think about it, why would gold, of all the elements of metals, be so precious to primitive people 5,000 years ago or longer? And not in just one area, but you're talking Egypt, you're talking South America, all over the world.
Right. Yeah, I read the book Chariots of the Gods with Enki and Lee and all of that.